Ladies and gentlemen, first we welcome one of the best match players in the business and playing the best snooker of his career, tough and talented. He has thoroughly earned the right to a place in today's showpiece final. Ladies and gentlemen, into his second Embassy World Final, will you welcome, please, the very talented Peter Ebdon. Ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, the greatest champion, a terrific ambassador who is certain to be giving his all to capture an 8th world title, and the Scottish legend has nothing to prove in what has been a magnificent career. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honour to welcome the 7 times Embassy World Champion, Stephen Hendry.
And taking the first shift in the commentary box today, we say good afternoon to Clive Everton and John Virgo.
Thank you, Hazel. Good afternoon, everyone. Day 17 of 17 in this great marathon of the mind. A day on which Peter Ebdon may achieve his lifetime's ambition, or a day in which Stephen Hendry may win his 8th world title.
Frame 17, Peter Ebdon to break.
Flick off the brown may have left the red nearest right corner potable. Asking a lot, playing it that slow, length of the table. The potting angle's about 3/4 ball, and I would guess Ebdon was trying to hold for the black. He left only a double, but the double has gone in, despite Hendry self-deprecatingly describing himself as the world's worst doubler.
Eight.
The start of the first session, Peter Ebdon got in first. Start of the second session, it was Ebdon who was first with his hand on the table. So this is a change in fortunes in this third and vital session, you feel, for Stephen Hendry. Peter Ebdon has
16.
dictated the early stages in all sessions. But having said that, Stephen, his usual attacking self, has opened up the reds, but he's not left anything easy. And this was the type of straight red last night he was struggling with. He had been on the practice table as he found the fault.
You only get one try out in the arena.
Stephen Hendry, 16.
Well, there's options here for Peter. He's looking at a red into the far left corner because the pink's making it a big pocket. There's also a red into the right centre. If he plays this one into the far left, he's going to be after digging down on this cue ball. He's got to be very accurate. Pink makes it look big, but as I say, he's got to be very precise. And that's a long way away. And he's left one. He's left that red to the right centre for certain. It's a strange choice of shots.
It looked pretty ambitious to me, particularly for such an early stage in the session.
One.
Because although Hendry starts 4 frames behind, if he puts together a series of frame-winning breaks, that lead could soon disappear.
Seven.
And I think that is his best hope, getting into break-making mode. Unlucky not to finish on the easy red, near the left middle.
8.
Well, he knew he'd be kissing off a red, but he kissed off 2 reds, so he's not perfect on this black. And he's not really going to have a lot of control on the cue ball, because it's certain to cannon into the red just above the black. But played it well.
15.
Yes, carried through the second ball to leave this easy red.
16.
But he's let that one get away.
Touching ball, normally, please.
Well, that was a careless positional shot. You know Stephen Hendry's going to play the blue, but there's a lot of pressure on this. Just when he looked as though he could have built up a real useful lead, he's now left with a blue. Well, as I say, last night, the type of shot he wasn't getting. Obviously, we've been on the practice table and practiced his long potting, cueing. And I think this may be made slightly more difficult by the fact he may not be able to hit the middle of the cue ball. He's touching the yellow. He's refusing the blue. Well, you wouldn't see that very often from this man, would you?
Yellow ball. Stephen Hendry, 16.
But I don't think he's played that as well as he might have done. A red may be cuttable to right middle. Or is it too far down? That was a fluke.
Oh, absolutely. And if he can roll up behind the green, now you see it. He didn't want it to be anywhere near that red near the middle pocket. Or the brown, roll up tight behind the brown. It could be a telling snooker, this. He's played it well. So only 1 point for the fluke. What will he get from the snooker? Stephen's got to be careful.
None of this, of course, would have happened if Hendry hadn't so carelessly lost position from the easy red over the left middle.
Excellent safety shot from Stephen. That was one of the other weaknesses for me yesterday. His safety play consistently wasn't good enough. Couple that with his long potting, and that's the main reason this man's 10-6 in front. But it's another day, and of course the business end is at sight. Short with the safety. A long pot available. There's still question marks over Stephen's long potting so far in this match.
And he's been unlucky enough to leave the red he attempted. Not a reassuring start for Hendry in the long potting department.
Yes, and the thing is, you see, Clive, that as we know, he always commits to those shots. I mean, other players could have made a screw back to baulk with safety in mind, not Stephen. And it'll give Peter Ebdon heart, because basically it doesn't put a lot of pressure on his safety. I mean, normally the pressure when you're playing someone like Stephen, you've got to find the baulk cushion. But twice already in this frame he's not found the baulk cushion, and Stephen hasn't knocked in the long red. So he's just taking pressure off his opponent. He's not putting the frighteners in, so to speak.
Eight. Nine.
Yesterday, when Ebdon was in close or at middle distance, he hardly missed a thing.
$16.
And if he can make a good start to this penultimate session, then he's going to take some catching.
$17. $24.
Can't quite make up his mind how he wants to play this.
25.
The choices were between the shot he played and taking the cue ball through to take the pink in the left corner.
Well, delightful shot. And that's what he played for.
31.
And he couldn't have hit it better. Points are all square now. So the destiny of this first frame, a vital first frame you felt, particularly for Stephen Hendry, is now in the hands of his opponent, Peter Ebdon.
.32.
This isn't the easiest of frame clinching chances, though. Still some difficulties to be overcome.
.38. .39. .46.
964 seats sold. That's a capacity full house at the Crucible. One of those tickets sold to a man with a rather nasty cough.
.47.
Another nice shot there from Peter Ebdon. He's just playing them so nice, so smooth, and if he has to use a bit of power, he's still finding good position on the next ball. A lot of people wondered whether he'd come out here a little bit nervy, but no sign of that so far. Well, didn't quite catch that red as you would like, but he's developed it.
53.
Needs a good pot, because he still needs red colour from the last red to clinch the frame.
.54.
So, black and last red would put Hendry at the snooker required stage.
Yes, and Stephen had the first two good chances in this frame. That awkward last red will be easy now. Great shot.
.62.
Well, he won't screw back into the middle pocket. That's one thing he won't do.
Now, as you can see the line, if he did screw it back straight, it's going off. He's well in front. I don't know why he just doesn't screw back a couple of inches, leave himself a longish yellow. Well, he's run through and snookered himself. That's a strange shot.
68.
I mean, it shouldn't make any difference, 37 points in front, but the last thing he wanted to do was to snooker himself. If he misses this, Stephen might carry on. Now he may not.
Peter Ebdon, 68 on the frame.
So, Peter Ebdon has taken the first frame of the day in confident style with a break of 68, and now leads by 5 at 11-6.
The psychoanalyst of the game, and then Peter is that man.
And it's this man, Hendry, at the table now.
for most of this championship, Hendry seemed to be cueing just as truly as when he was king of the 90s. But his cueing started to go awry midway through last evening's session, under pressure, and the signs are from the first frame he hasn't quite got it back.
Just playing a safety here is Peter. There was no value in taking that red on for a pot. There was no colour available. Very impressed with that first frame from Peter Ebdon. Bit short with the safety.
That being so, Ebdon will have been disappointed with that safety, disappointed to catch the green full ball.
It's a funny old game. If Peter hadn't caught the green and knocked it there, that'd have been a perfect safety shot from Stephen. The green not being on its spot was the reason that cue ball's not tight on the baulk cushion. Nothing on there. So you'd think it'd be a safety. Well, he's going for this pot, playing one of these pot deep screw back up the table. Risky, you know, then. And there was a safety shot, but maybe he's decided that take advantage while Stephen's just out of sorts, make a race for the line.
1.
But you would have thought, with Hendry struggling with his long potting,
6.
the last thing you would risk is leaving him an easy starter close in.
7.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just feel as if you keep leaving him near the baulk cushion, you're putting more pressure on Stephen. Yeah, this is a gift of a chance. And we know Stephen Hendry, we've seen him so many times, haven't we? That once he gets in and knocks in a century break, it's like all of a sudden he's revitalised. It's not going to be easy to make a sizable break here. The black tied
12.
up, the pink in an awkward position. He'll do well to get a sizable break here. Tried to bring the black into play, and it was always
13.
going to be difficult because there was 2 reds on either side of the black. If there'd have only been 1 red, then maybe a chance, but with there being 2 reds, that black was sandwiched in between them. Only a safety shot now. Playing it off the pink, the safety. Now, needs a good length.
Stephen Hendry, 13.
That's pretty good.
attempted that pot with left of centre striking to narrow the angle the cue ball took off the cushion to avoid canning another red. But I see no reason why Hendry shouldn't knock this in and get on the black.
One.
And he's played it well. The first frame he had 2 chances and only got 32 points from the 2 opportunities. What can he make of this one?
8. Nine.
Nope. He had a lot more pace, just went awkward. So the scoring machine at the moment cannot string a big break together when he needs one.
Yes, in the break-making situations, Hendry's like a boxer who almost but can't quite get into position to land a hefty right-hander.
Well, he's left a long red as Peter into this left corner. If he was to pot it, you'd think he'd be on the pink. He's looking at the alternative of a safety, but the safety isn't that easy because he's hampered by the brown. But the pot is pressure. Pot it is.
One.
Great pot, and I was looking at Stephen's face then. It was just, look, at last it was saying yes. Decided where to run through. Run through looks the best option here. He'll settle for that. He'll settle for that. There's no applause, but believe me, he's perfect on that red to the right of the black, which will clear the black for both corner pockets. I get the feeling that the crowd are willing Stephen to get back in this match, and they're just frightened to breathe at the moment when he's at the table.
7.
Well, they want to see a match. They want to see a close finish. They don't want to see Ebdon run away with it.
8.
And if the beat was on the other foot, I don't think they'd want Hendry to run away with it.
Absolutely, and for all us neutrals, that's what we'd like to see, a great match. And when you're in the commentary box, obviously you're going to give accolades to
15.
players when they play good shots.
16.
And of course, snooker players, and You played at the highest level in
23.
billiards, Clive. We are a bit sadistic. We like to see matches go close to see which one can stand up to the pressure best, don't we?
Yes, we like to see them going through it.
.24.
Because we all know what it feels like. Ebdon, though, for the moment is in a very strong position. Even if he lost this frame, he'd still be 4 in front.
Well, is he
31.
on the red? Well, he is. He's got down quickly. You can usually tell. He should
32.
win the frame now. Needed 3 chances, which is a little bit unusual for Stephen. And also,
38.
question 1 or 2 of the shots that Peter Ebdon played.
39.
He didn't really ever have to work hard for an opportunity, really, here.
I think Ebdon has tried to force it.
.46.
See, even when he's struggling, this is still a very strong aspect of Hendry's game. Once he gets in close and stays close, he can still score heavily,
53.
even if the rest of his game isn't so hot. And now, with the frame won 4 or 5 shots ago, he can try and stay on the table and develop his confidence still more.
61.
Yes, and there's a chance of another century for the king of the century break makers.
62.
And that will please him. He's looking for confidence. He's been through it, as we've said before. Won this title 7 times, but after last evening's session, he would have come here lacking in a
69.
little bit of confidence. It was only natural.
70.
And no matter how much he practiced, probably with Terry Griffiths trying to study the technique, his main inspiration will come out here on the match table. And this frame will make him feel a lot better. Okay, it was his
77.
third chance he needed. But when he got it, he's taken it extremely well.
.79. .82. .86. 91. .97.
I make that Hendry's 95th century at the Crucible. His clearance of 104 brings him back to 4 behind. He trails 11-7 though, and still has it all to do. Even if, John, that was a lot more encouraging.
Well, it certainly was. As I say, it was his third chance, but what will please Stephen most of all, Clive, is that long pot on the red. And I don't know whether our facts are correct. The record for century breaks here was John Higgins' 14, I think that was Stephen's 15, so a record here for one championship. But it was started off by this, and as I say, this will be the main key to restoring his confidence, because his game is built around long potting. But Clive, let's question a few of the shots that Peter played in that frame. Was he being a little bit too bold, do you think?
I thought he was. At a time when the only time really that the only way Hendry really looked likely to get in would be if he was left an easy chance. I know that was disproved in the end by the fact that he made most advantage of a difficult one, a long initial pot, but that doesn't make Ebdon's tactics right. Hendry has recovered from a 10-6 overnight deficit in a Crucible final. He did so against Jimmy White in 1992.
Mistake. How costly? I don't know. He just hit the red too full. He knew he was going to hit the green, but if he'd have hit it a little bit thinner, the red wouldn't have come back straight like that. It's a thin clip on this red. Stephen's not even bothering with it. Trying to get the snooker behind the green. Now, he's covered the open red, but I don't think it's a snooker on all reds. Just to confirm, in that last frame when Stephen Hendry made his century break, it is a new record now at the Crucible Theatre. 15 centuries in the championship. John Higgins made 14 the year he won it, of course. But that record, as all seemed to do with century breaks, has fallen to Stephen Hendry. But the most important thing, of course, is who's going to be the World Championship winner this year. Peter obviously doesn't fancy getting the safety. As you can see, he can clearly hit, well, the first one of these. It's unlikely to get back to the balk end. Well, coming off the side cushion, playing the one nearest this pocket, hoping to hit it half ball and leave the cue ball in the jaws of this pocket. Good effort, well played, it's safe.
Just going back to the Hendry recovery in 1992, and he was also 14-8 down to Jimmy White before coming through 18-14. As well as Hendry played, there was an element. Well, thought he was playing safe there.
One.
I didn't think there was room to drive that red to the corner.
Yes, excellent pot. He didn't really play for anything, although he's taking this brown, and it looks like in the centre. Oh, terrific pot. Well, is the confidence coming back?
5. 6. 13.
Yes, he can get it the easy red.
$14.
Well, we know what Stephen normally plays here. Pot the blue, lots of pace, cannon into the red. Sorry, cannon into the pink, full in the face, and that will open the reds. No one plays this shot better. Didn't catch the pink full in the face, but he's okay. He's nicely on the red, and the pink's near the right corner. He'll settle for that. As I say, didn't catch the pink full, and that cue ball was running loose.
20.
But in the end, it ran perfect. Good chance now, this.
$26.
I took a little bit of a chance again there, but it's come out perfect.
$27.
Well, he did nothing wrong
33.
in this frame. In fact, he played a very good, what we call containing safety. I thought it was safe. But
34.
Stephen played a terrific long pot. A very confident Brown, and Peter now can see this frame slipping away. Because this is more like the Stephen Hendry that we expect, and to be fair, saw against Ronnie
40.
O'Sullivan.
$41. $47. $48.
Well, he's a little bit short of pace, but there's that red on the right-hand side of the table, so he doesn't have to do a lot. He can just drop the pink in and play for that red, and then that would enable him to play for the black. If that red wasn't on the right-hand side of the table, it could cause a problem, but just roll this in. Nicely on the red, stun it in for the black in the opposite corner.
54. $55.
So there's black, one more red and a colour. And it should be enough.
62.
He won the first frame of this session, but it looks like he's going to lose the next two.
63.
Stephen just needing this black now to leave Peter Ebdon needing a snooker. And I will suggest, Clive,
70.
the last frame before the mid-session interval, which is the next one, is a very big one indeed.
71.
It could bring Hendry to only two behind.
$78. 79.
In the last few minutes, Hendry has scored more than 200 points without reply. He polished off the last frame with a clearance of 104.
86.
This looks like another century.
87. $93. 94.
Back-to-back centuries.
100.
When he gets in close, Hendry still looks very good indeed. But as the match proceeds, how many chances is Ebdon going to give him?
108.
And how many long balls could Hendry pot to get in close?
Stephen Hendry, 108 on the break.
A break of 108 then from Hendry. He reduces Ebdon's lead to 11-8.
Reason that it should affect him when he comes to it, and Stephen Hendry, of course, to win his 8th would be a huge success ratio for him. You know, and I know you won it 6 times, but you know what 8 times means. It's huge, isn't it? Very difficult.
Disappointing day for Stephen yesterday. What was the atmosphere like in the Hendry camp overnight and now this morning?
A bit disappointing last night, obviously, but you've got to give credit to Peter Ebdon. He played immaculate snooker and kept Stephen away from the table. Bit down last night, but this morning we got together, had a bit of practice, and quite light and breezy, and looking forward to going on there this afternoon.
Thanks, Terry.
Okay.
Ebdon attempting a shot to nothing.
Of course, this is the unique thing about snooker, isn't it? Peter, as you so rightly said, Clive, in the last 2 frames hasn't scored a point, so that red, although he had been knocking them in the last session, gets more and more difficult. And that is the problem. It's how much table time you get, and then if you're left a chance, is it going to be easy or is it going to be difficult? You soon get back in the swing, but those long pots are not quite as easy as I say when you've not had a shot for 2 frames. And oh, he's misjudged this badly.
Foul and a miss. Stephen Hendry, 4.
Oh, it won't be too bad if he's not left a pot on. Obviously he hasn't. Just a misjudgment. I wouldn't expect him to leave anything from this. But it's obviously not as straightforward as you would like.
Okay.
Just trying to hit the red just the right of the pink, full. Better line this time. Good shot.
Not a touching ball, so there's no free shot away to the baulk cushion for Hendry.
Well, is that careless? Will that red on the right-hand side of the cluster go into the far left corner? If it does, that's a very careless shot from Stephen to leave a chance of that. Well, Peter's having a look from the other end. It looks to me as though it'll just go. Careless to leave that, or even a chance of it.
Whether it goes or not, there was no reason why Hendry shouldn't have left the cue ball in the middle of the cushion behind the black. Wouldn't have caused Ebdon any great difficulty, but it would have limited his options.
what a bad contact that was.
We do the red as well. Right.
Ball leapt in the air. Watch this. Look. Well, the kick of the balls, run of the balls, they make such a difference in these matches. And this is on for Stephen.
Well, he was leaning over, bridging slightly awkwardly, having to strike downwards, but normally he would have got that. I assume he can get past the brown to the potting angle, although with that fleeting glimpse it looks very tight. He can't.
No, he'll have to bend it. If he wants to risk bending it, he can hit it full in the face and play the safety. Well, dear me, if you have to swerve it this much, I wouldn't be playing the pot, I promise you. Well, he did it to play the safety, I presume. Well, you can't really tell unless you're right behind the line of the shot. Well, I can only assume he wasn't playing the pot, because you wouldn't strike down like that and hit it that hard.
Tricky shot to middle that.
Yes, and he hasn't got away with it this time. He's left the sitter on.
Yes, it's in that sort of situation where the run of the ball, the random run of the ball is so important. On another day, that red might have run safe.
One.
Problem for Peter is the black's tied up. Pink's maybe available into the right corner, but no easy reds to get on. Pink, as you see, is available into this corner, the left centre. But it's where the next red is that will be concerning Peter. He's not been playing many cannons into the cluster. Maybe this is the time he will. It is, but didn't really catch them full enough. And you know, I don't think he's on anything.
6.
I think they've run safe. Needed to catch that pink, as we saw in the last frame with Stephen, full in the face. If you don't catch it full in the face, the cue ball runs over to the side. And, well, as it happened in the last frame, or the frame before, Stephen was a little bit lucky to get on a red, but Peter's not had that fortune. He's only left with the safety. Disappointing. Just 6 points from such a good opportunity.
Peter Ebdon 6.
It was a good thin contact that Hendry made, but he hasn't got Ebdon in trouble.
This looks a better safety. Good shots, good length, good direction. Stephen's got problems here. Well, he obviously can just get past the blue to hit the red furthest away from us. Wouldn't want to catch it too thick, possibly enough in the right corner. Too thin, he'd kiss another red. Got to catch this just right. And did. That was a good shot. Okay, he's not got the length, but that was a dangerous situation. And at least he's got it safe.
Unexpected mistake, but doesn't appear to have done any damage. Unless this red can squeeze through to right corner. Didn't play the red that I was thinking of. Played an excellent safety instead.
Tap on the table there from Peter Ebdon. Even in the heat of battle, you can still appreciate a good shot from his opponent. Nice to see. I think he can just get through to this red on the right hand side of the table. He wouldn't be playing a pot, and if he plays the what we call the cross double, he's got to catch this red mighty thin. And also try and avoid a double kiss. Caught it thin, didn't avoid the double kiss. What's the damage?
Red above the black.
One. Eight.
Well, that was just safety shot. Could be costly, but there's a lot of work to do yet before this frame's over. The red to the left of black he's not bothering with because he can't get position on pink or black off that.
Nine.
So I presume was going up for a baulk colour, but he's gone twixt and between. So blue. Well, he could cut it in the left centre and cannon into the reds. Now, how's your luck? Is he on anything? Just.
14.
Red to the right corner.
$15.
As he proved in the last two frames, when he gets in, he's deadly. He's already made back-to-back centuries. The position of these balls is
20.
always a little bit more awkward than they were in the two previous frames. And he won't be thinking of centuries, of course. He'll be thinking, how can I win the frame at this visit?
$21.
Well, decided to play for the pink. He wants to get the pink on its spot. It certainly helped for break building purposes, but he's got to judge the run off the reds after he pots the pink. And I think he's judged it perfectly.
27.
You heard him gasp. That was a kick. It may not have cost him dearly, although perhaps but for that he would have been above the blue.
$33.
Because he wasn't, this red came in handy. But
Stephen Hendry, 33.
it was a half-ball pot, more difficult than if he was straight behind it. So his break ends on 33. And he returns to his chair with only a 31-point lead.
Yes, but he's not left anything easy. There's a red to the left corner, which I think Peter Ebdon is contemplating taking on. But 31 points behind, you feel one more mistake, one more missed pot, and the frame will slip away. He needs to get this. Really went all out for that. He tried to roll it in, cannon the red to the right of the black for position. It's hard enough at the best of times playing it slow, but well, in these circumstances, I don't know. Well, would you believe it? After 2 centuries in the 2 previous frames, I thought Stephen Hendry was back. Didn't expect him to miss that, and the groan of the crowd told you neither did they.
Disappointing for Hendry, just when he had a chance to add momentum to his recovery.
But isn't it amazing, this game? Stephen has missed 2 relatively comfortable pots and never really left Peter an easy red to go at. And that's how it can go. Sometimes whenever you miss, you leave your opponent banging. Twice Stephen's missed and left Peter nothing easy. And he gets a 3rd chance now to win the frame.
The last chance Ebdon had wasn't easy.
8.
But I do think that overall in this session his choice of shot has been a bit too venturesome at times.
Yes, I agree. When he played that, as you say, difficult shot in the
40.
right centre, it was a low percentage pot, and to try and hold it as he did, well, if he missed the
15.
pot, he was certain to leave the red. Anyway, it presents another chance for Stephen. When you play matches like this in 3-4 sessions, each session you have to set yourself a goal, a realistic goal. Now, obviously, Stephen would have liked to have come out and won the
21.
first 4 frames and leveled the match. But realistically, he would have thought, if I can win 3 of the first 4 frames, I'm right back in it. And with that red, well, I was going to say, with that red going in, that goal looks to have become reality, but not quite yet. 53 points in front. Still a possible 67 on the table. Will Peter Ebdon get back to the table? Will Stephen Hendry take on this dangerous pink?
pink and red to get past the post in this frame, barring snookers.
Stephen Hendry, 22.
Well, you could say it was worth the risk. As you say, Clive, he needed the pink and red, but just look, once again, he's missed the pink's rattled the jaws, tied a red up near the baulk line. So, just having that little run of the ball, but maybe he deserves it. As you say, Peter's played one or two strange shots in this first 4 frames.
One.
Good pot. First real pot for, well, he got a red and a blue early on, but he's having to wait a long time for chances of easy pots. But a lot to do here, as I say. He'd be happy to get 30 points here, I think, from this chance.
Round ball.
Well, this is a big shot. Dear me, this is a big shot. Well, sorry, Peter. Don't
Peter
agree with
Ebdon
that
won.
one. So having missed the brown, he's now on the red. As I say, it was such a difficult shot. I mean, he could have rolled the blue in and played for the red down the right-hand cushion or something. Stephen only needs this red to go 53 ahead with only 51 left.
I thought that Ebdon's shot choice was that of a man in full stride, not a player who's getting infrequent opportunities.
One.
So, barring a snooker, that's frame ball for Hendry. But having missed the black,
Stephen Hendry, 1.
it is only 1 snooker required. And Ebdon has won a couple of vital frames in this championship from snookers needed, including one last night. Hendry looks certain to level at 6-all, with Ebdon needing a snooker. And although he laid one, it looked an easy escape. Somehow or other, though, Hendry went round it. So instead of being 6-all, Hendry was 7-5 down.
Yes, and he's played a very clever shot there, Peter Ebdon. He's knocked the red on, which Stephen can't get through to for the pink. So Stephen's got to get this safe, otherwise it's an easy... Well, he's knocked that one over the pocket as well, which is not what he wanted to do. So, pot one of these reds, well, 2 of them with the black, and then start your snookering on the last red. As you say, he's done it twice before in the championship against Matthew Stevens when he needed 2 snookers. That one against Stephen last evening. Well, shouldn't have been catching the pink. Is he on the black? He is, just. Probably play this cushion first. You hit the cushion first, lots of right-hand side. Send the cue ball up the table for the red. Just got to watch the middle pocket. But he's just hit well. So let's have a look now. There you see 45 behind, 43 remaining. Peter's checking the scoreboard as well. If he was to get a blue off this red, he'd need a snooker to tie. He could afford a pink to just leave it at the 1 snooker required stage. So off this red, it's imperative he gets on either pink or black. He's got into that too much.
9.
He's got into that far too much, and it looks as though the only option will be the blue. You'd rather be able to tie with one snooker than need two snookers. So Stephen might not be in as much trouble as we thought. Pot the blue, one snooker to tie.
Just wondering where to leave the cue ball to give himself the best chance of laying a snooker.
Well, I think he's left it there. He's trying to get the cue ball behind the black and send the red up the other end of the table. But well, not a good shot. He may have a
Peter
snooker,
Ebdon,
but it's
40.
certainly not what he intended. I can't believe he played it behind the brown, and it's not there anyway. Well, if it's slightly there, it's an easy swerve for Stephen. Just got to be careful, of course. He doesn't hit it too thin and going off in the far right corner, but surely he wouldn't fall for that one.
Ebdon won't attempt this red because he can't get on the black from it unless he plays a very ambitious deep screw. But that's end of frame by the look of it.
Yes, and I would suggest a disappointed Peter Ebdon. He obviously is full of confidence. You judge that by the shots he's taken on. But the fact of the matter is that Stephen Hendry is going to win his third frame of the four before the mid-session interval. A match well and truly back on.
4.
Hendry resumed 10-6 down. He fell 11-6 down. But the three remaining frames we've seen. So Ebdon leads only 11-9 at the mid-session interval.
Go on.
So what has the mid-session interval brought to this final? As you can see, Peter Ebdon on the practice table, because Stephen Hendry was back there firing on all cylinders.
First frame. Peter Ebdon to break.
So can that interval change things for Peter Ebdon? Or will the 7 times former champion carry on where he left off? It's a fascinating final. There's your answer. That's the target ball he was knocking in throughout this Embassy World Championship, and that's a gem.
Didn't appear to hit that hard enough to
8.
get onto the red, so maybe only a safety. I think the biggest worrying factor for Peter Ebdon as he plays this screw shot again, you can see he didn't quite get into the cue ball well enough, is the fact that Peter Ebdon's been virtually kept off the table for the last 3 frames and hasn't made a break over 30, so he's had no table time. So it's very, very important if he does get a chance to score heavily.
Stephen Hendry 8.
But Peter might have to change his tactics, because he was taking 1 or 2 very risky pots on and they weren't coming off. So he might just have to play a few safety shots to give himself a good opening.
Foul. Stephen Hendry 4.
That's not a good safety shot. A little wry smile there tells you he's left a longish pot.
Well, another Hendry special there. He was always very consistent at that kind of shot until a couple of years ago, but appears to have got his long game back.
Six.
You'd always expect to have a slightly bad session in a 4-session final, which Hendry obviously had yesterday when he lost 6-2, to go 10-6 behind from 4-all. If he can win this session 5-3, he's 3-1 in front at the minute in this session. Get right back into it. Obviously anything above that, he'll go into the last session level.
$14. 15.
Just coming around to have a look to see if those reds at the back of the bunch are on for the left corner. I think at least one of them will be, and that will clear the path for the one next to it. In fact, he could have done with being just a little bit further up the
22.
table, but he can still pot this. He's going into the reds. With a bit of luck, he might come back onto the black.
$23.
That frame last evening did set Stephen
30.
Hendry back when he looked almost certain to level at 6 each. Peter Ebdon needed a snooker, fluked the snooker. Stephen missed getting out of a straightforward snooker, lost that. Took him a while to get over that. That's long forgotten now. And
31.
he looks pretty good again. Danger signs for Peter Ebdon here.
$38. 39.
Almost certain now that Hendry's going to close to within
46.
one. Just needs another 3 reds and 3 colours to make that a definite possibility.
47.
From where the balls are, you would expect him to do that. The standard continues. Another 50-plus break coming up should this black disappear. We've already had the record number of centuries in this tournament. I think we've definitely had the record
54.
number of 50 or aboves as well, because the standard from all players, I think only Alan McManus didn't play at his best, but virtually all players have played well here this year.
55. $62.
Just this red to make certain of this frame. That's got a terrible contact, and it's just about reached.
Okay.
That could have been costly. That was a heavy contact. The red just carried on and just barely reached the pocket. There's another. Well, the white jumped right in the air that time, and he's out of position, but at least he's enough in
68.
front. Just watch this. Oh. But 80 in front with just 67 on the table.
Stephen Hendry, 68.
Peter Ebdon coming to the table, but boring snookers. Stephen Hendry's back to just one behind.
One. Eight. Nine.
Peter
16.
going to decide which one he wants to leave next to the pink. He's going to try and go red, black, and then whichever red he feels is better to get the snooker, he'll be playing a snooker possibly in behind the pink.
17.
So another red and black coming. Now going to be interesting to see which way he plays the snooker. Highly unlikely, of course, that Peter will win this frame from this position, but he's already pinched two in this championship, one from 73 behind against Matthew Stevens, and of course one yesterday, as Dennis alluded to very early on in the commentary, that it was almost certain to go 6-all. Ebdon got the snooker and won. So he's won at least two frames in the championship. He had no right to win.
25.
Well, he'll want to get as tight in behind that pink as possible.
32. Peter Ebdon, 32.
And that's a pretty good shot. Stephen's got to be careful that he doesn't leave a free ball here. I don't know whether he can see enough of the side cushion to get up to the red past the brown. I'm not sure if he can see enough of that, and even then it's quite delicate to pass the brown and hit the red.
Foul.
But that's not all that
Peter
bad.
Ebdon,
No
4.
miss can be called because Peter's at the snooker's required stage. As it's turned out, not a bad shot, really, because he's pushed the brown safe. The only thing is he could be tight in behind the yellow again.
And Peter will be trying to get the red off 3 or 4 cushions as close to the black as he can to make this a hard snooker to hit. Well, I thought he'd do that, because this is going to be easy to hit off one. Well, he can really pot it. That's a very poor shot. I thought he'd really get some space in between the 2 balls to make it difficult. I think he can pot this, Hendry.
One. Four.
I thought for one moment there we were going to see
6.
another famous Peter Ebdon comeback from needing 3 snookers, but it's not to be.
9.
But as you said, Willie, he had a good chance to get tight in behind the yellow and send the red right up the table, but that's all history.
Stephen Hendry, 9.
He'll not be too bothered about missing the straightforward brown there. That break of 68 was the one that did all the damage in this frame. Stephen Hendry's just 1 behind at 11-10. And really, Willie, the difference between Stephen Hendry and last evening, I was doing the match, and there was a spell where he was missing his long pots. He wasn't getting anywhere near. Now, just look at the queuing to knock that in. I know he only made 12 from that, but that's a good positive sign for him. And then he followed it up with this long pot, which gave him that 68 break.
Yes, I think that's the difference, Dennis, the fact that he started to knock a few long ones in. And this is on the 3rd occasion now in this match, Dennis. There's been a block of 4 frames on the trot. Of course, Peter Ebdon won the first 4, Hendry won the next 4. Peter Ebdon then had a run of another 4 frames on the trot. Hendry now has won 4 frames on the trot. So I'm just wondering whether they can break that sequence, because now it could be for the first time in the match somebody wins 5 on the trot, which would make a massive difference if it was Hendry.
Well, we did see what this man was made of against Matthew Stevens, one of the most unbelievable pinks when he was 16-14 down, that kept him in this year's Embassy World Championship. And there's a lot left in this final. This could go all the way.
Yes, I agree with you, Dennis. I mean, obviously we've got 3 more frames left in this session. If
Stephen
Hendry
Hendry
were
to
to
break.
win them all, Peter Ebdon's still only 2 behind going into the last session. So whatever happens, we're in for a cracking last session, not to be missed.
It's a pretty good break off there because there's no way back down the table. That last shot that Peter Ebdon played, first time I seen it play, when you got your opponent in trouble, was Cliff Thorburn, and that interview was lovely to see Cliff here. Cliff christened that shot the dump shot, and what he meant by that was when you're in trouble, leave the white up this end and dump the red down the other end of the table.
Got to be very careful with that red on the left-hand side cushion. Yes, he's played it well. That's perfect safety shot. Excellent. There's not a plant on, but he'll probably play the possible plant just to move that red away from the pocket. The red 2 down from the pink. He could possibly hit that one and just play it onto the red on the right-hand cushion, just to try and clear the pocket. But he'd have to play a screw shot to avoid the cannon on the red that's on the left-hand cushion. Just wonder if they can play it without making a cannon on that red. He wants to clear that right-hand pocket. That's what he's played to do, but he's missed the cannon. But he's got a good cue ball. Very good safety from these two players in this session. It's so nice, Dennis, isn't it, to see the crowd appreciating not only the break building, but the safety.
I don't think Stephen has covered it this time. Or has he? Yes, the white has just ran on far enough. I thought for one moment that Peter could have potted that red, but the white just drifted in behind the brown. But yeah, the crowd appreciating it, Willie, but also Stephen Hendry tapped the table for that last shot that Peter Ebdon played, and it's played with great sportsmanship, this final. So much at stake, but it's nice to see.
Well, I've really been impressed with the pace of cue ball from this last 4 shots from the trot. I think the cue ball's been within an inch of that top cushion. But this is very, very tough. Can't see anything down that side of the table, and if he plays very fine off this one, which he is going to do, this could go astray. Done well to cover things up. Maybe had to see the ones just behind the black, which would make it an easy safety shot, but that red over the pocket has been covered.
Is there a red that pots right through the gap? He's looking at one. That's the one that Steve... Oh, there's not a lot of room there. There's only half a pocket. This is risky if he takes it on. Oh, I think that was pushing the boat out a bit too far because there was only half a pocket. He had a straightforward safety shot. Oh, there was...
I'd have to suggest that he probably played the plant there, but whichever way he played it, it was a little bit rash, and I don't think he's done anything or left anything easy for Peter Ebdon. The red will pass in between the reds, the one nearest the pink. Mind you, the black is available, so he could stun this round 2 cushions if he's got his confidence. Get on the black. Play for blue instead, or a balk colour. The fact that the red is in balk, that's probably the reason he decided to do that. It's really the first good chance that Peter Ebdon's had in the last 4 frames.
Yes, and I feel sure it's a chance that he shouldn't have had, because that was a tough shot that Stephen Hendry took on. He had a straightforward safety shot, and he could have kept the pressure on Peter. And now Stephen can only sit there and see if Peter can get right back with this opportunity here.
Yellow ball. Yeah.
Peter had only scored 57 points in the last 3 frames.
3. Four.
If you can see the brown, the positional side's okay, but off the green, he's going to have to get a lot of cue power to get back at this end of the table.
Well, that's where he was looking to get to, that little circle, give him a choice of 2 or 3 reds.
7. Eight.
Yes, and because you mentioned those 3 reds, Dennis, you'd like to be in that same position for the next 3 shots on the trot, and there's the possibility of doing just that. This is a good
14.
chance for Ebdon to go 2 clear again, and once again stop that run of 4 frames. It's amazing how we've had those sessions of 4.
$15. $22. $23.
Just a wee bit too far. Might have to be the yellow to get back up to the reds. He's got a straight blue, but he was hoping to be on the blue into the middle pocket. Keep talking about Peter's mental strength. He's going to have to show it again here, and he is.
$25.
He's lost the last 4 frames. But he's one of those players that can quickly put that out of his mind.
Well, he came round to see if the
26.
black potted and decided to roll through for the black, and that kick has clearly taken the pace out of the black, out of the red, I should say, for position on the black. And this is a tough little black he's going to play now.
I think the pink would be better, because anywhere near the little circle, the shadow there, he'd leave the red to the right of the pink. Just a delicate little stun shot. Put it back up.
Oh, absolutely played to perfection.
32.
And it's, you can't guarantee winning the frame at this position, but it's a very, very good
33.
chance. Everything's a little bit tied up at this end. It's purposely finished high on the pink now. The one to the extreme left-hand side of the black would be a possible choice of red next.
$39. $40.
Well, I think he got a bad contact off the cushion there. It just took off. He was playing for the black or the pink in the middle, and he's finished betwixt and between. Not good on either. The black would avail certain position, but it's a lot easier to pot the black than the pink. A little bit snatchy, but it's gone in. Good shot. Good shot under pressure.
47.
Just got to be a bit careful with the cannon onto the red when potting this one. Never sure what's going to happen to cue ball when you're canning into another red. But at least it's safe. He hasn't left anything. The other red this side of the black wasn't in the right position to get nicely onto that black. That was the reason he took the red he did. Now, what is Stephen? Is he having a go at this very, very difficult red? Carrying on. He's made his mind up. He's going to keep attacking, and that was close, he's saying to himself.
Foul. And a miss. Stephen Hendry 4.
He's looking for the perfect contact here. That was the reason he missed the red. He needs a very thin contact to avoid the reds on the way back down the table. It's okay, even though the white's not as far down the table as he expected. It's safe. That was a tough pot he took on, but I think he might just have got away with that. Maybe snookered, but he could have left something easy. such a big frame in the context of the match. We keep saying that, but Peter Ebdon, as we said earlier, lost 4 frames, the last 4 frames. He's, well, you'd have to make him favourite for this frame, but only just, now that he's snookered.
Absolutely no problem hitting one, but where's he going to hit one and get safe? He may have to just try and rest on the 2 reds. That's what he's planning to do.
Foul and a miss. Stephen Hendry 4.
There's nothing easy, he'll have this replaced, because even if he catches this half ball, they could leave a possible red in the middle, so he's got to be very, very careful.
Yes, I think it's the only shot he's got though, Willie, and everyone's engrossed in this final here. But he needs to hit it on the thin side. And that's, well, he might just be okay. I don't think the red passes the blue.
It's tight, Dennis, but I think it does just sneak in. And he can just stop the cue ball dead and be on the pink in the middle, won't do any damage.
It's close. What a good pot.
Seven. Eight.
This is not a bad chance because the reds are the correct side of the table for Stephen, being a right-hander. Anxious moments for Peter Ebdon.
Well, this will be a body blow of all body blows if Hendry now pinches his frame.
14.
And talking about body blows, boxing aficionados would know that. Nicky Piper, one of our champions who's come along with Prince Nazim,
15.
who's been here a few times this week. Loves the snooker. Snooker's followed by all sportsmen. Nicky Piper now works for television companies doing the commentary. Very, very good boxer, Nicky was. A bit good looking for a boxer, isn't he?
Careless. It just didn't get into the cue ball there. Just watch the white. Didn't. Well, you could see Stephen's reaction after he played the shot. He knew immediately he didn't get through the white as he intended. And that makes such a difference because
22.
what he would have done then, had he been able to pot this red, he could have developed one of the difficult reds. Now he's snookered.
Yes, it would have been very easy to screw back and leave a straight red, but as Dennis rightly mentioned, it would have been the perfect angle to do that.
Stephen Hendry,
Has he got away with
22.
it? Well, the red's potable and could cannon you the reds out. It was quite an easy pot. I don't expect him to miss the pot, so I just wonder whether he's going to risk going through yellow and brown and bringing one of these 2 reds into play at the same time. It'd be unlucky not to be on black or pink.
Well, that's
One.
exactly what he tried there, Willie, but the brown got in the way. He didn't quite get the correct contact, but he got the most important part, and that was he potted the red.
Blue ball.
Oh, the pink has spoiled things there. Had he have missed the pink on the way up the table, he'd have developed one of the reds. Just that nudge spoiled the show there for Peter.
Peter Ebdon 6.
Well, that would have been very close to the cross double, but as it is now, Peter Ebdon's got a very easy snooker in behind the black. I don't think the red's going to go into the brown at any stage. Just got to be careful he doesn't hit the brown. Now the brown's okay, so he can play white in behind the black. Good shot.
Well, Stephen's in all sorts of trouble. The fact that the red stayed near the middle pocket. He had to try and move it. Where's the cue ball? That is unfortunate. But for Stephen to get out of that last situation, he just played to move that red, and he hoped for the best. Well, he certainly didn't get the best. But it was a very good snooker that Peter Ebdon had led, and one good pot. And he could win his first frame for quite some time.
One.
Just the red needed. Now what kind of angle does he have on the black? If he's dead straight, he's going to have to play a good shot. A lot of reverse side needed. You'll see the cue ball change direction off the cushion here because he needs to really get into the cue ball with side. He'd like to get onto it in the middle pocket.
Yes, if he is straight, well, he'll have to screw back. But watch the white. Just watch where the white goes when it hits the cushion to try and get up to that red. Now, the reason he missed the pot on the black was he had so much side to try and get up to the red. But he didn't really time that as well as he has been doing.
Peter's very, very strong at playing with side normally, and that will dent his confidence because that's the first easy pot I think he's missed in this final. I mean, obviously you can miss any pot, but when he only needs one more red, it's surprising he missed that.
One.
And this would really hurt now if Hendry cleared. Really hurt.
Four. Six.
Well, this is going to be difficult now. Had he been away from the cushion, he would have been hoping to get up into the circle. He can't do that now, so it's going to be a difficult brown.
9.
In fact, he can't even take the pot on now. So he needs a good safety here.
Well, there's not a guaranteed safety shot on, and I'm just wondering, the way Hendry's been playing, whether he might try and float this in with a bit of running side. But I agree with you, the safety shot's the better choice, but he's studying so long over this shot. In his mind, I know he's tempted to try and take this on. Is he playing full in the face, or is he playing to whip it in with the side? Yes, full in the face. Did play the safety. And a good kiss, a very good
Hendry
kiss. Unfortunately, though, he's not the blue safe, but at least he's got the snooker.
Well, this is a chance to get in tight behind that blue with the white. If he judges this one correctly, Peter could be in all sorts of trouble. In fact, I don't even know if he's looking to see whether he can have a go at the brown up past the black. Well, which one has he played? Did he play the pot or did he play the snooker? Only Stephen will know.
Well, I can't believe it, Dennis. I mean, there's 15 points in it. You've got to play one or the other. You can't play both. And I think, like you say, I think he played both. But Ebdon only needs the brown. And he's got it. That was a real chance for Hendry to get really close in this frame. Played neither, didn't play the pot, didn't play the snooker, played both and got neither.
Peter Ebdon 4.
So one snooker required, and pink and black are not in the ideal situation to get snookers behind. Always better if one of the colours is a bit closer to a cushion when they're out in the table like this. You've got to be so precise. Now, watch the side. Not quite.
Well, that's very good pot on the blue. Without doubt is going to mean that whatever happens in the next two frames, Ebdon's going to go into the last session no worse than level. And I think it's so important for Hendry to win the next two. Yes, Stephen Hendry walks out. Ebdon now stopped the rot. Once again, a four-frame burst is ended. Ebdon goes again 2 frames in front at 12-10.
You know, you're in a world final, you're playing someone in the other chair who's an exceptional player, and they can easily win 3 and 4 frames in batches.
Off we go. Willie and Dennis will take up the commentary once again.
Well, as you can see, both players left the arena there, and it is getting very hot in this Crucible Theatre. But what a classic final. Bit short with the cue ball this time, so there's a tempter for Peter Ebdon, but it's a very risky tempter. That's what he's thinking about, because if he takes it on, it would have to go in. He's looked at the safety, he's back looking at the pot. Here we go. Well, I think he moved a little bit on that shot. Just moved slightly there. But he's been a little bit fortunate in one respect. The red has gone and covered the black.
1.
Pink's tied up. Black's tied up. Not easy from here.
Stephen could leave a possible pot on this next red to bring the black into play. Not from this angle, I don't think he'll play it. We know that Stephen's going to try and get high in the blue whenever he can. He might play the cannon. Push the black over the pocket. Well, he played it and missed it. I don't think the black will pot. He played the cannon.
And the fact he's pushed that red over the corner pocket now, he's got to be extra careful with the white. But that's always Stephen's game plan. First chance, even if it's a difficult positional shot, he'll have a go at it to open the game up. Over in the corner with the white.
Stephen Hendry, 7.
And he's definitely blocked the red that's over the corner.
Peter's got the same problem. He needs the white in virtually in exactly the same position. Didn't fancy it, so he's just rolling up.
It's going to hit the pink. I was watching that coming up the table from the commentary position. So that looked as if it drifted a little bit. But I'm surprised he's taking this delicate shot on, because with the position of the yellow, brown and blue, well, let's see what happens this time. That's not going to get anywhere near the reds.
Foul and a miss.
This time we can listen to referee John Williams, can't we? Because he'll have something to say to Mr. Ebdon.
Yes, he will be telling Peter, if you miss it this time, you lose the frame.
You realise you have to do red this time, otherwise you lost the frame.
But he played the shot that I thought he would play the first time. Back down the table off the reds. The yellow, brown and blue. Well, I hope he doesn't hit the pink. Because I think Stephen will play the shot, because, as we mentioned, the yellow, brown and blue are a big target to cover that red.
Those regular watchers of snooker would have seen Fergal O'Brien do exactly the same thing in the Regal Scottish just a couple of weeks ago, and similar situation, trying to roll into the pack, hit the pink the first 2 times, then decided to play it on the 3rd occasion after the warning. He's hit that bad, Dennis. He actually hit the pink full ball the 3rd time and lost the frame. Peter looks to be playing that shot we were talking about this time, that he could have played on the previous occasion. And he's played it well, but there may be a shot to nothing around the back of the black. There's a gap everywhere here. You can play around the back of the black if you can't see the one on the pocket, and the 5 reds on the right-hand side. Those 5 reds there, you can play around the back of those as well. This is perfect, but he has to get the pot, otherwise he'll kiss one. To the inch, absolutely to the inch. Didn't have to do a lot with the cue ball there, it was the natural angle. Luckily for Stephen, those reds were just in a perfect position to miss them all.
Just got to get this one right to drop nicely onto the pink. Well, he's coming back up the table, so
5.
Judged it well.
Yes, if Stephen goes on to win this frame now, he would have done his afternoon's work.
11.
Because he would have won at least 5 of the 8 frames and a chance of levelling the match. That was his in his mind, at least if I can go into the last session no worse than 2 behind, I'm back in the match, and if he wins this frame, he's won 5 of the... Goodness me. I'll stop commentating there because I couldn't believe it.
Hendry, 11.
I don't think I've ever seen him cue that bad, ever. That was right across the line of the cue ball, pushed a bit aside, it very nearly didn't jaw. He can't believe it as he looks up to us in the commentary box, nor can we, I'll assure you, Stephen.
I think that was just a lack of concentration, definitely. The only consolation for Stephen was that he didn't leave an easy pot for Peter Ebdon. Now, wouldn't it be ironic if he knocks this red in after missing the one we just watched? It's a funny old game, somebody once said. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yes, we could put that in perspective, really. He could play the first red he missed 100 times and potted 100. He could play that shot 100 times and only potted about 65 times. So it's unbelievable.
Seven. 8.
Clicked his fingers there.
14.
But I'm sure that red pots. Obviously, he didn't get the white exactly where he wanted. That's why he just clicked his finger and thumb together. But he's okay.
$50.
He won't even worry about the black. He can clinch this frame with pinks. Might just be the frame clincher.
21.
So what a final we have here.
$22.
Just tried to flick the red, missed the kiss, so he's left himself plenty to do.
28.
He can play this with a bit of confidence. He may get back to the table, Peter Ebdon, but Stephen can play this with a bit of confidence, stun it on and off the cushion for the pink. I don't think the 2 reds below the pink will pot. Oh, excellent.
29.
Could and maybe should be a frame winner. Excellent pot, this. Right back into the final now, whatever happens in the last frame.
$35. 36.
Well, I'm very, very surprised. He only needed the red and the pink. He's now looking at the scoreboard, but all he had to do was knock the red in, pot the pink, and Peter Ebdon would have needed snookers. I can't understand why he tried to develop the black. He could have just screwed back to where he did do on a couple of occasions and just leave the easy pink in the middle.
Well, I'd hate to see what Terry Griffiths was doing when he played that shot. He'll end
Stephen
up like me,
Hendry,
pulling his hair out
36.
if Hendry keeps playing shots like that. That was unbelievable. For somebody of his all-round knowledge of the game, that was elementary. And he knows it. He's having a little wry grin up to us in the commentary box, and probably knows that I'll be giving him some there for playing that shot. He's done it again. He keeps missing the easy one and getting the difficult ones. Could be frame ball, that one.
Mind, when you get to the stage of a World Championship final, you can expect players to miss shots that they're supposed to get.
9.
They get shots that they're supposed to miss. It's all the fascination of the World Championship.
$16. 17. 24.
Maybe out of position, but he's not really bothered. He'll try the double on the red. Well, in fact, he sniffed it.
25.
Didn't look possible, that shot. And look at the side he had on that to swing it up to leave the red
32.
on.
33. 37.
A little bit of exhibition stuff. Watch the white. Stephen Hendry
39.
just enjoying himself at the end of this frame with a few exhibition type pots. There's another one. Now, where are you going to pop this
42.
one, Stephen? Just a straightforward one this time. Is he going to
46.
try something exciting with this one, positional wise? No, he's had enough of this frame, but with breaks of 36 and then that 46, Stephen Hendry is right back. He's just one behind at 12-11.
Yes, and Hendry has now won 5 of the 7 frames available this afternoon. Now, the tickets for this Embassy World Championship final sold out months ago. You can't get your hands on them for love or money, but you could make a booking for next year. That is, if you win yourself the total ticket.
Sport Relief is giving you the chance to win the ultimate season ticket.
Next year, you and a friend could be in the crowd at all the great British sporting occasions, plus 2 of the biggest sports events on the planet. Australia, Monaco, South Africa, you choose.
If you want to win the total ticket and spend 2003 watching some of the greatest sporting events in the world, this is what you have to do.
Tell us what Ronnie O'Sullivan is also known as. Ricochet Ronnie, Silo O'Sullivan or Rocket Ronnie. Give us your answer by calling 09065 500 500 or text your full answer to our short mobile number 82125. You must be over 18. Entering will cost £1 with at least 60 pence going directly to Sport Relief.
The Sport Relief total ticket. It's a win-win thing.
It might well be. If you are texting, incidentally, then your first text will be charged at your network rate, and thereafter it's £1 to enter. A lot of pounds worth of money at stake in this championship, though. £260,000 to the winner. Will it be Hendry? Will it be Ebdon? Last frame of the session, back to Willie and Dennis.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And whatever happens in this final, Stephen Hendry will pass the £7 million barrier in prize money. Such has been his domination over the last decade. But the money doesn't mean anything anymore. It's the world title. And this young man, Peter Ebdon, who could begrudge him winning a world title the way he's played this week? He's been very aggressive all week. Did a miracle to beat Matthew Stevens from 16-14 behind, and has already played his part in the final.
Not as good a place with the cue ball as Peter Ebdon. So, but as it's turned out, that's all he can look at. There's no easy safety shot, so he's going to have a go at this. And in the previous frame, he moved on the shot. Let's see what happens this time.
Foul.
Wow. He must have moved because there was a foul called. He must have caught something with his arm, so I think he just caught the brown there, so there must have been some movement. Yep, cue just flicking the brown.
1.
The first chance in the last frame of this session falls to Stephen Hendry. And one good positional shot here, and it's not a bad chance. He's still got a red on, but it would have been much easier had this cue ball not caught the jaws of the middle pocket.
I wonder if you dare play it slow, Dennis, just to rest on the other red and be on the perfect on the black. No, that was your answer.
7.
Decided to play around the back of it. There's another little bit of work to do here. In between green and brown, the jaws could come into play here. Decided on the long pot, and this is perfect. Could have played in the middle and got in the same position as that. Played a more difficult pot in the top. Chance to level at 12-12. Both semi-finals were close. Obviously
30.
Now the final is going to be even closer.
Will he get a chance? Just looking at the bunch of reds there, they're not ideally placed just yet. And we've seen over the last couple of frames that anything can be missed, so it's not straightforward by any means.
28. Just
that one red the back of the bunch seems to be available. Stephen's having a look to see if there might be one on for the right corner. The two reds and the little group of reds that are together, one of them might be on. And it definitely is on.
36.
That's the one he played for.
37. $43. 44.
Stephen Hendry lost the last session 6-2. The odds are heavily in his favour that he's going to win this session 6-2. What a final we're going to have here
50.
this evening.
There's already been 6 centuries in this
51.
match so far, 4 from Hendry, 2 from Ebdon. A very, very good chance, as I'm sure Peter Ebdon now realises. Not only could it be going level at 12-12, this could be another century. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Ebdon knows that just taking his last sip of the water, I feel, for this
57.
session. 8 o'clock start, don't miss it.
58. Point. $65. 66.
What a stunning performance from Stephen Hendry. There was one stage last evening where
72.
he looked as if he'd lost all control of his cue action. He was
73.
missing the long pots. He's made 3 centuries here in this session. And it's still going to be very difficult to pick a winner because Peter Ebdon, we know what he's
79.
made of. And I'm with you, Willie.
80.
I can't wait for this one this evening. And I think Peter Ebdon, he'll be looking forward to it as well. He loves a battle.
Yes, we knew that Stephen Hendry had to pick his game up, which he has done in this
86.
session. It's obvious now that Peter Ebdon is certainly going to have to pick his game up. He's only made 2 breaks over 30 in this
87.
session. 32 and 47 of Ebdon's highest 2 contributions. That's in the last 6 frames. He did make a break of 68 in the first frame
93.
of today, so as the first frame of the day won. Oh, no century from Stephen Hendry. He's disappointed, but what an excellent session for Stephen Hendry. He's right back in there, and who knows, it could be his 8th world title tonight. It's 12 all.